Hello everyone, my name is GUO Xi. My presentation today is about the teacher feedback and for performance confidence in one-to-one instrumental lessons. The title of this study is Which Types and Qualities of Teacher Feedback do Instrumental Students in High Music Education preserve as most helpful for building performance confidence during one-to-one lesson? This topic comes from my experience as both a violin learner and a violin teacher. In one-to-one instrumental lesson, feedback can correct mistake, give practice guidance, support students emotionally, and influence how confident they feel as performers. Therefore, these studies focus on which feedback types and qualities students perceive as most helpful for building performance confidence. This slide gave a brief overview of the whole study. The main purpose of the study is to explore which feedback types and feedback qualities students perceive as most helpful for building performance confidence. I use both words here, types and qualities. Feedback types refer to categories such as correction-focused feedback, teacher modeling, future practice guidance, or reflective questioning. Feedback qualities refer to the characteristic of feedback, such as whether it is clear, specific, person, practical, respectful, and positive. The context of the study is higher music education, with a focus on one-to-one instrumental lesson. This is important because one-to-one lessons are very personal learning situations. The teacher usually responds directly to the students playing, and the feedback may affect both technical progress and emotional confidence. The method is mainly a quantitative, questionnaire-based survey supported by short open-end response. This design allows students to read different feedback types and qualities, while also giving short explanations for their choice. In short, the project links feedback literature with questionnaire response to explore what confidence building feedback and may look like in one-to-one instrumental learning. This slide gives the background of the study based on the literature I reviewed. One-to-one instrumental lessons are highly individualized. Teachers usually respond directly to one student's performance, technical, musical expression, and learning needs. In this setting, teacher feedback can be technical, music, reflective, strategic, or emotional. Students may respond differently depending on both the type and the quality of feedback. The diagram shows the base logic of this study. Teacher feedback may influence students' understanding and response, which can lead to clear practice direction and stronger performance confidence. So in this study, performance confidence is understood as connected to clarity, preparation, self-belief, and the sense that improvement is possible. This slide summarizes the main literature that supports these studies. The first area is feedback theory. Hattie and Temple and Macpherson, Blackwell and Hattie provide a useful theoretical base. They suggest that effective feedback should help learners understand their learning goals, their current progress, and their next steps. This is important for this study because performance confidence may be supported when students show where they are and what to do next. The second area is feedback in music performance teaching. Studies by McPherson and Beckwell, the Brin, Sandbrick, Jastrom, and Handon, and colleagues show that music feedback can include correction, modeling, reflection, goal setting, and future guidance. These studies help shape the feedback categories used in the questionnaire. The third area is student response. Standout and hearty and careless and bound remind us that feedback is not effective simply because a teacher gives it. Students need to understand it, use it, and act on it. They support the student-centered directions of the study. The first area is confidence and self-efficacy. Louis White and Hendrick show that students' confidence can be influenced by teacher support, clear guidance, and belief in improvement. Taken together, the literature suggests that this study should compare both feedback types and feedback qualities. This is my this is why the research questions focus not only on what kind of feedback is given, but also on how clear, specific, useful, and supportive the feedback is. This slide shows how the literature leads to the research focus. Existing research has already shown that feedback is important in music learning. It also suggests that feedback is more useful when it is clear, specific, goal-related, and useful. The instrumental lesson feedback may also include modeling, reflection, and individual guidance. However, this study look more closely at the students' own perception. More specifically, it asks which feedback types and qualities students find most helpful for performance confidence. This is why the research question is which types and qualities of teacher feedback do instrumental students in high music education perceive as most helpful for building performance confidence during one-to-one lesson. The wording is important here. This study focuses on students' perceptions rather than proving a direct causal effect of feedback on confidence. It explores this through a preliminary questionnaire. This slide explains the research methodology. The approach is mainly a qualitative questionnaire-based survey with short open-end response. This is appropriate because the research question asks the students to compare different feedback types and qualities. The questionnaire allows students to rate, choose, and rank different feedback options. The participants are instrumental students in high music education. This matches the research focus because the student study is concerned with students who have experience of one-to-one instrumental learning. The data sources include 5-point lecture, scale items, ranking choice, and a short written response. The questionnaire has four main sections. The first section collects background information, such as student instrument, study level, years of learning, and the lesson frequency. The second section uses lecture scale items. Students rate feedback types and qualities on a scale from strongly disagree to strong agree. The third section asks for an overall comparison. Student choose the feedback types or quality they find most helpful and rank their top three choice. The fourth action the fourth sections include short open-end response. This allows students to explain their choice and give example of feedback that helped their confidence. Overall, the questionnaire is designed to compare feedback types and quality while still allowing students to add some personal explanation. This slide explains how the questionnaire results are analyzed. The analysis has three stages. The first stage is assumption checking. This means checking the sample size, missing response, and whether the Likert scale items were complete properly. Since this is a preliminary questionnaire, it is important to check the dataset carefully before interpreting the result. The second stage is descriptive statistic. This includes physical percentages and mean sources. These are used to show generating patterns across different feedback types and qualities. For example, the mean sources can show which feedback category students rate more highly, while percentage can show which options were selected most often. The third stage is inferential statistic. If the sample size is sufficient, statistical comparison could be used to examine whether students' rating differ across feedback types and qualities. In this project, because the dataset is small, I treat this mainly as a possible future step rather than a firm statistical conclusion. For the current dataset, the results are treated as preliminary. Therefore, the discussion focuses mainly on descriptive pattern and cautioners in interpretation. This slide presents the participant profile of the preliminary questionnaire. There were 12 valid responses. Although this is a small sample, it is still useful for a preliminary study. The sample mainly includes experienced instrumental learners. 75% of the participants were past postgraduate students. 75% had studied their instrument for more than 10 years. It's 3.3% usually had weekly one-to-one lessons. Also, all participants had at least 7 years of instrumental study. This matters because experienced instrumental learners are likely to have received different kinds of teacher feedback over time. This response can provide useful preliminary insight into how students receive and evaluate teacher feedback. However, because the sample size is small, the result should not be generalized too widely. I treat the result as early patterns rather than final conclusions. This slide shows the mean ranking from 5-point Likert scale items. Overall, all feedback types were related positively, which suggests that students generally agree that teacher feedback can support performance confidence. The highest mean source was for specific praise at 4.58. Teacher modeling was also rated highly at 4.5. Specific feedback on musical details, future practice guidance, and practice strategies feedback are received high sources, around 4.42. This suggests that students value the feedback that is specific and practical. They also value teacher demonstration because modeling can make the desired sound, technical, or musical expression clear. Genuine Price was still rated positively at 5, at 4, but it received the lowest mean source. This suggests that students may appreciate the price, but they may find a specific and useful feedback more confidence building than vague price alone. Because the sample size is 12, this finding should be interpreted as preliminary pattern rather than firm statistical conclusions. This slide shows the result from the single choice question. Students were asked which feedback types or quality made them feel most confidence. The most selected option was specific feedback on music details, chosen by 41.7% of respondents. The second most selected response was positive and respectful delivery, choosing by 33.3% of respondents. Future practice guidance, relative questioning, and teacher modeling each received 8.3%. This result is important because it shows that side of confidence building feedback. First, students value presence. They want feedback that tells them exactly what is happening in the music, such as rhythm, articulation, intonation, dynamics, or technical details. Second, students also value the way feedback is delivered. Sportive and respectful delivered appeared to matter because students may accept a correction more easily when the feedback does not make them feel discouraged. So the results suggest that confidence building feedback is both specific and positive. It is not only about what the teacher says, but also about how the feedback is communicate. This slide presents the short written response. The workload shows that words such as specific, clear, practice, demonstration, and feedback appeared frequently in students' written responses. The main themes from the response were clear and specific feedback, knowing the exact problem, knowing how to practice next, teacher demonstration and modeling, and a positive tone with practical guidance. This response helped explain the quantitative result. Students did not only see that feedback should make them feel good, they often focused on understanding. They wanted to know what the problem was, how to fix it, and what to do after the lesson. This link directly to the research questions. The written response show that confidence building feedback is not only about the feedback type. It also depends on whether the feedback is clear, specific, useful, and sportive. In this way, the open-ended response puts in the decision to study both feedback types and feedback qualities. And this slide discusses what the preliminary findings suggest. The first point is that specificity matters. Student response positive, positively to feedback that names musical details and makes performance problem clear. This sport the area that vague comments are not enough. Students need feedback that helps them understand exactly what is happening in their play. The second point is that directions matters. Feedback appears more helpful when it gives students clear next step for practice, not only correction. This connects with the literature on feed-forward guidance and self-regulation learning. If students know what to practice next, they may feel more prepared and more capable of improving. The third point is that the delivery matters. Sportive and respectful feedback delivery may help students receive correction without losing confidence. This is important in one-to-one lessons because feedback can feel personal. A sportive tone may help students accept technical correction more constructively. The overall argument is that confidence building feedback is not simply positive feedback. It is clear, specific, and useful feedback that students can choose and apply in later practice. This connects is the literature review with the questionnaire findings. The literature suggests that the feedback should be clear, goal-related, and useful, and the questionnaire results show that students also value these qualities. This final slide presents future research directions and potential impact. For future research, the sample size could be expanded. The sample could also be balanced across different instrument groups so that comparisons between groups become more meaningful. Future research could also add interviews for deeper explanation. The current questionnaire shows useful patterns, but interviews could help explain why students respond to certain types of feedback in particular ways. It would also be useful to compare different study levels and lesson cultures. For example, undergraduate and postgraduate students may have different expectations of feedback. Students more different instrumental traditions may also respond differently. If the sample is large enough, future research could be used statistical tests to examine whether differences between feedback rating are significant. More broadly, the study could develop into a mixed method design. The potential impact is mainly practical. This study may help teachers give clear feedback, support more student-centered communication, guide students' practice after class, reduce reliance on weak praise, and strengthen students' performance confidence. The practical message is simple. Feedback should help students know where they are, what matters, and what to do next. The final slide shows the phone references list used in this project. Thank you for listening, and I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you.